like, oh, this is trash.
I saw somebody on Instagram. I don't know who they were. I was just on my Explore page and I seen it, and they were like, it was like a from Twitter, a screenshot that they did. I'm assuming it's of their Twitter, but it said the 4 projects I'm most excited for from Marvel Studios after She-Hulk flopped, and I was just like, to you maybe maybe it wasn't up to your expectations, but I thought it was a really great show.
She-Hulk
I
was
had so
awesome.
much fun with that show every week.
That She-Hulk was. It wasn't perfect. There were
No.
some things that I definitely would have liked to see more, and I was hoping for. Well, one, I hope she gets a season 2, but I was hoping to see Howard the Duck in there, and that's just me being stupid. But that show was great, like overall.
Yeah.
Like it was funny, the characters were good. Like it wasn't anything that we've gotten before show wise, and like the finale was funny as hell.
Yeah, I liked. I think because I went into the show with low expectations, because I had heard a rumor that they were having all this trouble with the fourth wall breaking, and they weren't sure that the show was going to be good, and this is going to be Marvel's first flop or whatever. And so like going into the show, I was excited, but I was like, okay, I have to set my expectations low because this may be something that is not good.
Yeah.
But after like the first episode, I was really surprised, and then each week I came back and I was still surprised that they would, not all episodes like you said were like the best. Like that wedding episode was like kind of like whatever. But I had fun with the finale. I had fun with seeing Abomination show up, or like Hulk, or even Daredevil show up.
And even their portrayal of Daredevil was awesome.
Yeah.
Like after that episode, I saw people complaining like, "Oh, that's not the Daredevil that we know." Like this one was trash. Like they just tried to make him funny, and that was it.
Yeah. And to me, my whole thing was like, if you must not read comic books, because if you know comic books, you can go to a Daredevil book and there may be like 1 or 2 jokes in there, but it's mainly like going to be a serious book. But you jump over to a She-Hulk book, that's going to be more of a comedy book.
Yeah.
And for the most part, so it's like, look at the shows in the same way you would as the books.
Yeah.
Some characters are going to be more serious than others, and that's what you're going to get in the show because they're trying to give you the spirit of what the show
Yeah, you
or
can't
what
just
the book is.
just because Daredevil is like deadly serious in his shows and whatever we've seen him in so far.
Yeah.
You can't bring him into this comedy-driven show and then expect the whole mood to just completely change, and then this turns into like a vigilante LA scene. Like, that's not what it was. Like, you brought him into a comedy show, and that's what it is.
Yeah.
He's loosened up a little bit. He's having some fun. He's like spending some time with a female. Let him do his thing.
Everyone just wants
Sorry, a woman. Female is not a nice word. I'm sorry.
Everyone wants a Dark Knight type, dark movie with like it's real stakes and no jokes and everything and whatever. But it's like I feel like we don't need that because we have the Dark Knight.
Yeah.
You have a movie
before
trying to make
what I want to happen going forward, and before, let me say welcome to the Webheads podcast.
Welcome.
Thanks for coming back again.
Welcome back.
We've hit you guys with two-part episodes or shows or stories over the last month. And to be honest with you, today might be the same thing. I'm not 100% sure yet. We're going to try to fit it all into one, though. But what I want to happen is before every new Marvel show or movie comes out, I want everybody to write down exactly what it is that they want from this. So we can all have those expectations. And then right before it comes out, show everybody or tell everybody what your expectations are for this. So everybody can call you stupid for the most part. And then we'll go from there. Because to be honest with you, a lot of people, like, I feel like real Marvel fans are gonna should be going into the movies and shows with just, I hope this is good. That's it. Like, you shouldn't be going, like, stop going in to all this stuff with the hopes of going into Daredevil Born Again with the hopes of seeing Elektra and fucking and he's fighting Kingpin all over again. And
Yeah, like, don't have your expectations, because that's how you end up coming out of it thinking it's terrible and
yeah,
it sucks.
it's like go into it the same way you're going into any other movie that you might see like a trailer for.
Yeah.
Like, oh, the trailer looks good, I gotta check that out, and then go into the movie hoping to see a good movie.
Yeah.
That's it. Like, stop going, like, you're doing nothing but disappointing yourself here every single time, and then you go on the internet and say all this stupid shit.
Yeah.
Stupid stuff, sorry. And then it's like, for what? For what?
At this point, like, I kind of don't care what people say, because at the end of the day, I'm not going to change anybody's opinion.
No.
And no matter what you tell these people, it's not going to change their opinion.
No.
And I feel like it's just, like I said, it's people who, yeah, you may not like a specific movie or show. That's your right not to like it.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, don't sit there and tell other people that they're wrong, or that they don't know what true, comic books are, or the shows, or anything like that. Like, have your opinion and just leave it at that.
Yeah, and if
it goes either way, whether you think it's good or bad. Like,
you have your opinion.
Yeah.
That's it. If you think it's good, tell us why you think it's good. If you think it's bad, tell us what it is. Like, give us a reason why you think it's bad.
Yeah.
Not just because a lot of people are coming off as just, this show's bad because it's a woman.
Yeah.
A lot of people on TikTok, at least that I've seen.
Or they don't say that it's because of women, but based off of everything that they're saying, it's very clear that they don't have any real strong basis for anything else, and it boiling down to the fact that it's a woman.
Yeah. It's how is Jen so in control of her Hulk powers this early on into the whole thing, when Bruce had to spend 3 or 4 movies getting to that point.
And I love how people try to analyze it like this is like scientific fact.
Yeah.
How is she able to do this when it took him so long to master? Well, it's like it's a show.
Sir, we are talking about comic books.
For the sake of the plot,
Yeah.
anything can be done.
Anything. You can make her the strongest person ever in the MCU. Ever.
We literally saw a robot. Spoilers, anybody. We saw a robot that was basically just controlling everything that happens to her.
Yeah.
And everything else in that universe. So, for the sake of the plot, anything can happen.
That's canon now in the MCU. That a robot is controlling everything that's been happening. Kang who? Kevin's been doing this whole thing.
And now people are going to be like, well, that breaks the continuity, because now what does it even matter for Secret Wars or for Kang or this or that? Like, just have fun with it.
You're worried about what the Kevin robot's going to do to Kang? Or how he affects what Kang's been doing?
Like, just have fun. Go in there. Try to enjoy what you're watching. If you don't, you don't. But who cares about continuity? There's so much stuff.
And we're like 28 things in to this MCU. You know what? So besides all this stuff, like, was it you? I mean, it might have been you that sent it to me on TikTok, where the guy was saying that what if they used, was it Secret Wars or Kang Dynasty as like a reboot?
Oh yeah, I think I sent that to you.
Yeah. Like was it Kang Dynasty?
I think so.
Yeah. What if they used Kang Dynasty, that last movie in Phase 7, as like a way to just reboot everything?
Yeah.
Like at the end of the movie, it literally just erases everything. Kang tries to start the whole thing over, and we start from there.
Yeah, I mean, and that makes logical sense. Like from movie making standpoint, like these actors aren't going to want to do this stuff for forever,
No.
and then you can kind of reboot it and like reform teams or
Hmm.
bring in new characters or do different takes of the character, have different actors play them.
And it's, yeah, I think it works.
Yeah,
I would not be mad if that happened. Because then you get to, like you said, you get to bring back characters that maybe past, recast them with different people, change things. Because I mean, yeah, we've never seen one franchise tell one continuous story
yeah,
the whole way through for now is what, 14 years now?
something like that.
And then that's still 5 years out. So we've never seen one franchise besides
Star Wars.
Star Wars, The Simpsons, not many other things. Which and The Simpsons is still episodic,
Yeah,
so it's not even like there's some continuity there, but it's not like one full story all the way through. So yeah, really, it's just Star Wars. But even then, Star Wars has been broken up and split between 1977 and now. So we've only had
yeah. I mean, if you're really just only looking at movies, there's
yeah.
tons of gaps between those, so
Hmm.
it's not even really like it's continuous story. But I mean, this has been what Marvel every year except for maybe 1 year.
Except for what 2020, I think.
Yeah, every year for the past 14 years, there's
Yeah,
been some sort of continuation of the story in some way.
yeah,
So
and it's yeah. But I mean, yeah, also you do that, and it lends itself to the fan base becoming kind of like how Star Wars is, where
unfortunately,
the they're really nitpicky. I don't know. I'm not gonna complain about the rest of these guys for the rest of the show. We got other shit to do. It's other stuff to do. Sorry, I'm really trying to stop cussing on the show a little bit more, but it's a process. So it's been what, a month since we recorded last?
something like that. It's been a while.
3, 4 weeks, something like that. What have you been up to?
I took a trip to Arizona last weekend at the time of this recording. By the
Okay.
time this comes out, when is this
Yeah,
coming out?
this it's coming out Tuesday.
Okay.
So
Uh,
that
yeah,
was last weekend
yeah. By the time this comes out, I took a trip to Arizona.
for your birthday.
No, this was for my girlfriend Danny, her cousin's quince. So her big 15, we got to celebrate that with her. Um, it was pretty cool.
Nobody in our family had one.
No, Wait, yeah, I don't think
For you guys having so much Mexican pride, you guys really didn't go with everything.
they're expensive.
They are. They're really expensive.
Like, I don't know how much this one was or anything, but I can only imagine.
It's like what? It's probably not like white people wedding
Yeah,
expensive, but it's. I mean, you got to get a hall,
you gotta
like
get a hall. I mean, the
decorations, the
dress,
dress, the food.
food. She had a live band, alcohol, all that.
None of that
So
is cheap.
yeah, I can only imagine it wasn't a cheap experience, but it was fun. Um, just hanging out with my girlfriend and her family, and
Mm-mm.
we got an Airbnb that weekend. So they had a pool. We were just chilling in the
Do
pool.
they have any
weekend.
weird rules for you guys?
Mm, nothing. I don't. I didn't think was weird. It was like don't smoke on the premises at all. Like
No.
cigarettes. And it was like cool. Like I would agree with that.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I mean, it was just like an odd house. It was weird. It was. If you guys have ever been to Arizona, you know that a lot of houses are just like one story and they're all kind of flat,
Mm.
right? So it kind of reminds me of like grandma's layout.
Yeah.
So we would enter through the garage. You walk in and then you're just kind of like in like the dining room slash living room area, and then there's a kitchen, and then you make another left. There's like a bathroom and 2 rooms and stuff. But then, as if you're walking in from the garage, if you make a right, there's like a long living room area, and then there's a master bedroom. Then there's like another living room, like right as you come out from there. And the pool was super small, but the yard was huge, and it was just grass. Like it was such a like. You can tell the people that own this house just bought it, and maybe fixed a couple things here and there.
Yeah.
And then just put it on as Airbnb because the house still had light fixtures from what looked like the 70s or 80s.
Yeah, just you talking about the layout of it sounds like old.
Yeah,
70s.
There was carpet everywhere, and
yeah, they just bought this.
Yeah.
Either that or they got it. They got it from like one of their parents, and their parents were like, "Don't change it."
Yeah. It was a weird place, but it was comfortable enough.
I for some reason thought you were going to Vegas.
Everyone did. Dad sent me $100 and he was like, "Here, buy yourself a dinner out there." And I was like, I'm in Arizona, right? And he was just like, "Oh shit." He's like, "Well, you got money for Vegas when you go."
Go ahead, send that back. I'm gonna need that back right now.
Well, yeah, it was cool. It was a nice little trip. I was snuck some edibles on the plane.
Nice.
So that helped the plane ride. And then throughout the weekend, I was just kind of coasting.
I'm asking for a friend who's going to be hopping on a flight in a few days. How did you sneak it on so he knows?
Well, hypothetically.
Hypothetically, if you did sneak it on.
Depending on what you have. So, let's say you had, like, some gummies.
I know for a fact that he has some gummies in, like, a tin case.
Okay. I would buy some gummy Skittles or Starburst or something.
Mm-hmm.
On the package, on the flap on the back, just pull it up a little bit and get like a knife or a box cutter and just slice a little slice and just put what you need in there, hypothetically, and then just put it in your bag. And when they see it, it's just candy.
Works for me.
And then before you hop on the plane, half an hour before, just throw one back.
There you go, friend. You should be set.
Careful to tell people that those are in there, though.
I'm not. I have no friends that I'm going with, or he has no friends that he's going with.
Because sometimes people don't ask what's in there, and they just decide to eat.
Yeah, that's not a good idea.
And then they look at you and say, "Hey, what do those look like?" And I say, "Skittles are round."
You know what Skittles look like. This is not a mixed bag of candy here.
But yeah, that's how you do it.
All right, because my friend has a flight this week, and he does not like flying. And
is this flight during the day or night?
First thing in the morning.
Out of where?
Oakland.
How long is the flight?
2.5 hours.
Yeah.
It's me. I'm the friend. I need something to help me relax. Last time I got on a plane with family. So I knew if something happened, we're all going. Now I'm worried because I'm by myself. As an adult, I've only taken 2 flights. This is going to be my second flight by myself. As an adult, this is going to be my 3rd flight total. And yeah. But yeah, I mean, it sounds like you had a good trip.
Yeah, it was a fun time. I came back. We got back at like Sunday night, like 1 a.m. And then the next day was my birthday, but I also had like a work meeting I had to attend. So I had to sit on Zoom for 4 hours and try to be interested in BS.
Man, we had a meeting at work the other day. I've been with this company for a little over 2 years now. This is the first in-person meeting that we've ever had. They're like, it's mandatory. You need to be there. We had a virtual meeting on Monday of this past week. We have one every month, nothing different. And then they're like, on Wednesday we have an in-person meeting. So it's like, what can't you tell us on Monday that has to wait to Wednesday?
Yeah, I don't understand why everything just can't be a virtual. I mean, they're both annoying.
Yeah.
But like, just tell us when you have us.
And then on top of that, they made the in-person meeting at 7 a.m. So now I gotta leave here 5:30, get there just before 7, just for you to talk about our company. Our parent company just bought Terminex.
Mm.
So they're like, that's all they wanted to talk to us about. So we sat there for 2 hours and talked about it. And then we had to do that stupid school thing where we got to introduce ourselves to everybody.
Was it 2 truths and a lie?
I wish. I would have made up something good. Like, oh, just since most of you guys haven't met each other, I want everybody to go around, introduce yourself, and tell everybody what you do. I'm just sitting there dreading the whole time. There's like 15 people before me. And then it gets to me, and they're like, all right, you're next. I'm Steven. I do this. All right. And then no one said anything. I knew some of the people said, like, yeah, what up, Steve? And then it just went on to the next person. Like, don't put me in this situation. It's too... I'm a morning person for the most part when I don't have to talk to people.
Mm.
Saturday and Sunday, I could wake up at 6 o'clock, clean the kitchen, do all my stuff. I could go out, do my errands, everything, play some video games. I don't want to be sitting here chatting it up with you at 6 a.m. My mornings are, it's a situational thing. I just don't want to be with you guys, with anybody.
Like at work, I get in at 7 sometimes. I don't turn my phone on until like 9.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not taking any stupid customers calling about shit that are stuff that I don't care about.
Yeah, like even if I wake up early on the weekend sometimes, and then Zara wakes up, like I wake up at 6:30, and then Zara wakes up at 7, I'll just go back to sleep. Like no, no, the time is done. This isn't what I thought it was gonna be. Let's just go back to sleep. Come on, I don't want to do this right now. But over the last couple of weeks, I haven't done anything. It was both of our birthdays are 6 days apart. So right before Grandma left, we had a little shindig at her house, and then that was it. I celebrated with all of you guys there, and then the next weekend, Furiel's family felt left out, so I celebrated with them here. And they didn't feel left out. I just said that. I guess they had already planned it. But, yeah, we did something here, and then that was it. I haven't done anything. We were going to take Zara to the pumpkin patch today, but she's not feeling too well. And that's it. Just been on my bullshit buying comic books the last couple of weeks. And being far behind on a lot of it.
I don't know how to structure any of my free time, so I don't get to really do anything.
Let's see. So, we got some decent stuff coming out this week. What do we got? We got, I realized that last time I told people about the comics, I was only telling them about number ones and stuff. And then I was thinking, like, not everybody that listens is starting brand new on everything. So maybe, like, they didn't realize that something was coming out this week or not coming out this week. Because I've had some books upstairs that I was reading through it and I was like, shouldn't this have come out, like, a few weeks ago? And then I can't find any websites to tell you, like, if anything's been canceled or if it's been pushed back or pushed forward or anything. So I just kind of, with the League of Comic Geeks website, everything that I like reading, I just subscribe to it. So whenever it does come out, it's on my list that week. But then that shit's been setting me up for failure. It's like, last week I had a whole bunch of comics on my list, and it's like, came up to like $50. I was like, yo, like, am I reading all these stories? I had to question myself. So what do we got this week? This week we got Moon Knight number 16. Haven't been reading that. Thor 28. X-Men 16. Avengers 61, if you've been reading through that thing.
I gotta jump back into that because I want to read this upcoming event that they have. I think it's like Avengers Forever or something like that. Or
Yeah. And that was another reason I wanted to list off some of these, all the other ones that are like even mid-series, because you can still, like, Moon Knight 16 is out this coming week, but that means that most of the series before it is on Marvel Unlimited. So you can go catch up on it there, probably catch the last 3 or 4 issues in the comic book store, or if you're buying online, you can find them and then catch up. So yeah, Avengers 61, X-Force 33, Star Wars Darth Vader number 28. We got Carnage number 7, Iron Man number 24. This one I'm looking forward to, Deadly Neighborhood Spider-Man.
oh, I want to read that one too.
Yeah, that one's on my list for this week.
Wasn't it? It was written by Taboo from Black Eyed Peas.
From Black Eyed Peas?
Yeah.
Oh, man. I need one written by Apple the App.
That's 2/3 of the Black Eyed Peas have now been associated with Marvel properties.
Who else?
will.i.am was in X-Men Origins Wolverine.
Oh, yeah.
And
Forgot
Taboo
about that.
Wrote this.
Oh, man. See, we got to get Apple the App in there. And then bring back the original singer that was in the group that they kicked out, so they could put Fergie in there. Don't let Fergie do it though. You gotta have. You should have an event for this Deadly Neighborhood Spider-Man, and then have Fergie come out and sing the national anthem again. We got Predator number 3. Midnight Suns number 2. Did you read that one?
No.
The first one? That was pretty good. I'm not buying the game.
I'm interested in the game, just because of what was that Mario versus Rabbids?
Mm-hmm.
It's sort of.
Is it kind of like that?
It's this one is kind of like that, but card based.
Yeah, I don't like the card based kind of things.
So I'm gonna wait for it to come out and see what people say, and then maybe wait for it to jump on sale or something.
Yeah, I'm probably not gonna do it. So Midnight Suns 2 is coming out. Captain America: Symbol of Truth with Sam Wilson's Captain America. That one's been pretty good.
That's gonna be a crossover soon too, right?
I don't know. I know in the Sentinel of in the Steve Rogers Captain America one, I know that one's has a Winter Soldier special coming up. But that's all I know. I haven't heard anything about a crossover yet.
Speaking of Winter Soldier, did you see Bucky has a new costume?
No.
He has a cape.
Nice.
I think it's a hooded cape.
Oh, man. Almost like when he was a kid sidekick. This one I'm looking forward to this week too. Crypt of Shadows.
What's that?
It's looks like it's Man-Thing, Moon Knight, Elsa Bloodstone, X-23, and somebody else that I can't recognize right now. But it looks like it's like a Halloween kind of spooky story. So we had Predator number 3 coming out. Alien number 2 is coming out. Defenders Beyond number 4. I've heard a lot of good things about that story, but I haven't read it yet. Shang-Chi and the Ten Rings. Number 4 is coming out, and then Miracle Man: The Silver Age number 1. So I don't. Before we started recording, I had that Miracle Man one upstairs. That's like a prequel to it's a 0 issue for this Silver Age Miracle Man story. I don't know anything about Miracle Man whatsoever.
Neither do I.
We'll see. They're making a big deal about him right now, though. He's on a lot of the what you call it, variant covers.
This has been like, I don't know if it happened or not, but I remember maybe could have been more, but at least like 5 or 6 years ago, they were like really promoting him for something, and then that was it. And then I don't remember it coming out or if anything, but I know the character's been like behind like a lot of like legal battles and stuff for like a long time. So I don't know. I think I read somewhere. I'm not sure if I'm remembering correctly, but I think it said something like this will be like the last something, like the last of like a series or like the last to wrap up something that's been.
Oh, maybe they don't. Maybe they're losing the rights to him or
They
something.
could be or something like that.
I don't know. Why would you? Maybe not. Because why would you go through all this if they're losing the rights?
Yeah,
Because he's been on like I've seen like 4 different variant covers for other comics with him on there.
Yeah.
Because I heard I think they were losing the rights for Conan the Barbarian or something.
That you can't. I wanted to. I was listening to Scott Hasn't Seen, and they did Conan the Barbarian, and I think they had Jerry Dugan on there. He did. I don't know if he's still doing Deadpool, but he did like the longest Deadpool run.
Yeah.
And he did Savage Avengers, and I was like, let me check that out. But they don't have it on the app because Conan's in it.
That's bullshit.
Yeah.
You gotta find it somewhere.
Yeah, I gotta find the physical ones.
All right, guys. So we got a story today that is based around the team Excalibur. It sounds like a team that would be like a medieval, like based in medieval times, just based off of it being Excalibur. It's not.
It's a British team, right?
Yeah. So on the team we got Shadowcat, aka Kitty Pryde, formerly of the X-Men, and her little dragon teammate Lockheed. They're both there, and they joined the team after the rest of her fellow X-Men died in the Fall of the Mutant story. So we're still kind of dealing with the aftermath of that whole story. We got Captain Britain, who became Captain Britain after an accident which left him bleeding out. When Merlin and his daughter Roma came to save him, they offered him something called the Amulet of Right, which would save his life, but in exchange he would have to become the protector of Britain. Later on, after he witnessed his sister Psylocke die again with the rest of the X-Men, he spent most of his time drowning his sorrows in liquor and treating his kind of on again, off again girlfriend Meggan pretty badly. Yeah, and then Meggan is also on the team. She's the person who kind of planted the seeds of what would grow to be Excalibur. She called Kitty and Nightcrawler for help to save Rachel Summers from death at the hands of Mojo. And Mojo's a whole nother story. I won't get into that. So Megan's a mutant with shape-shifting powers that can also use the powers of the person she shifts into. So if she turns herself into Wolverine, she can use his scent tracking skills, his claws, everything. Storm, she can use the weather powers, all that stuff. So no matter who she switches to, she can use all that. Sorry, guys.
That one exploded.
Oh, disgusting.
And now for some ASMR for Candy.
I was waiting to get out. This man eating Sour Patch?
I'm doing ASMR.
ASMR on the Sour Patch. Sprinkle the sugar on the mic. Oh, man. You guys hear the sugar? Then my kickstand. Oh. I lost my kickstand for my Switch. Again. Sorry, it keeps breaking it off. All right. Sorry about that explosion, guys. I'm going to cut that out. I got to remember to cut it out. That's the problem. So, we got the Phoenix, not Jean Grey. We got Rachel Summers, a.k.a. Scott and Jean's daughter from the future. After being saved by the rest of the team from Mojo and his TechNet goons, she was the one who officially suggested that they all become a team. Then we got Nightcrawler, same situation as Kitty. Saw all of her friends die. Was just lost in the world after that. And then we got this guy, Professor Alistair. He's one of the founders of WHO, which is a Weird Happenings organization. And he's with Excalibur to help them investigate a mysterious train that has shown up that travels through time and space with no one knowing how or why.
You said a train?
A train. And then we got a character named Widget. And it's a small floating robot head that seemingly controls the train, but no one knows how to power him up.
I'm going to just say, I'm not going to pass any judgment until we're done, but I'm going to just say this already sounds boring.
So I need everybody to know that usually, up until now, I've always given my brother here, DeMarco, the opportunity to pick which story. Like, I give him 2 stories, say, you pick which one you're going to do, I'll do the other one. Mm-hmm. That is not happening going forward. I'm either picking which one I want, or we're really flipping a coin to see who gets what. Because his story might not be a million times better than what I'm reading today, and I haven't even read his, but I know it's better than mine.
I can tell you it doesn't have a time-traveling train.
Then it's automatically better, because mine does. And, yeah, so there was a lot of issues here. It goes from Excalibur 12 to 24. It skips 20 for some reason. They don't explain why. They just, at issue 20, they just go to a different story. All the same characters are there. Has nothing to do with the main story. So I skipped it.
I feel like it probably had to do with something with like the timing of the book. Maybe they needed more time for the story, so they just moved it to the next issue and then just did like a filler issue or something.
I would assume that they were going through the whole story, didn't have one of them ready. So they're like, oh, we were going to put this out after, just put it out now.
Yeah.
And then we have a little bit more time.
Yeah.
Don't do that, guys. Just push the issue back. Because that shit was stupid.
This is the 80s. You get it out.
This is late 80s. This is
get it done.
89.
You get it printed.
I can't believe I lived in a world where this happened. You didn't. I had to live through this. So I'm going to try to float through this because...
damn, my neck.
My back. Just because I didn't love this story. I'm telling you guys that right now. But this is what we're here for. So number 12.
Buckle in, everybody.
Buckle in. And get your blankets ready because you're going to sleep. We start off at number 12. So we immediately jump into the shits. Here we are on Earth 1193. We have a young prince named William. He's riding his horse while listening to his Walkman, looking for adventure in the forest. Then, out of nowhere, this train just comes barreling through the forest and it crashes. He runs to help when he sees a young kitty fly from the train after the crash, and then she's just laying there unconscious in the forest with Lockheed standing next to her, kind of protecting her from anything that could come her way. But all William sees is a dragon, and he tries to kill Lockheed, but Lockheed's not playing with him. He tries to burn him, and then he ends up knocking him out with his tail. So you can already tell the story's going well. Just then, the rest of the team comes out of the train, obviously shaken up from just crashing. but they're not hurt because Rachel used her psi powers to protect them all. But when they crash, Kitty has the ability to phase through things. So she got scared, phased through the force field, flew out of the train. So then, now with Prince William knocked out, he wakes up, he finds himself surrounded by Excalibur, and he freaks out until he sees Captain Britain, who he calls Captain Marshall. And Captain Britain says, I think you have the wrong guy. Like, I'm Captain Britain, not who you think I am. And Prince William then asks if Kitty's okay and if she's taken. Is she single? Is she married? What's going on with that girl?
Already, a train just crashes and
This man got knocked out by a dragon. And as soon as he wakes up, he's like, that girl that I was trying to say, what's up with her?
Horniness does not
No.
stop.
And this kid is young, too. So later on, we see Rachel, Alistair, and Kitty on the train. And they're examining Widget. They know he causes the train to do this dimensional travel, but not how to get him. Sorry. Jesus. They know that he can control the train to move it to different dimensions, but they don't know how to get him to take them to a certain place. So they can't control. They know how to power him up and get him to go, but there's no telling where they're going to land. So here we see, while they're in the train, we see that Kitty has a crush on Alistair, who is at least 15 years older than she is. And then we see that Alistair has a crush on Rachel, who's at least 10 years younger than he is. So there's a weird dynamic going on in this train, and I don't like it.
They need to get off this train and go meet some people their own age.
Just go hang out with people your age. Go to work. So while they're studying Widget, an actual large dragon comes out of nowhere, rips the train in half, and then grabs Kitty out of the train, takes her, flies away with her. He ends up taking her to his castle that's owned by this ugly ogre guy. When another young lady is already captured, and her name is Princess Catherine. Princess Catherine is a little pissed off because she thought that she would be saved by a prince, not by some little girl that kind of looks like her.
Is this a fairy tale?
I don't know.
It sounds like Shrek.
A little bit. Now that you say it, yeah. So,
did they travel to the Shrek universe?
I wish. That would have made this a hell of a lot better. So, so then, Captain Britain and Rachel show up to save Kitty. The ogre punches Captain Britain like 300 yards away. And then Rachel punches the ogre the same distance in the same direction. But then she gets grabbed by this monster with his green tentacles and starts dragging her down into like this brown like swamp water that's under the castle. And then it transforms her into like some demon of some kind. And then we cut over to Captain Britain and the ogre, and they're fighting in the woods. Nightcrawler teleports Prince William into the castle to help save the girls that are captured in there. And side note, Nightcrawler's powers at this point still aren't 100% after all the stuff that happened in Mutant Massacre. Got knocked out and like lost his powers for a little bit. So he's, even at this point, like a year and a half later, he's still not fully like where he used to be with his powers.
Dude, take a break.
Sit down for a little bit.
Why are you trying to get involved with everything?
You just lost your whole team and you just immediately go to another team.
There's a place where you can just chill and not really.
Yeah. So, and then, so yeah, he teleports Prince William in there to help save the girls, and he does so, but his attention Prince William is saving the two girls, but he's really focused on Kitty and trying to save her. He doesn't
Check this out. Ugh. Just picked up 2 girls.
Hey, Kitty, you see this? I picked up both of you guys. But I want you to remember I picked you up first. And then, so yeah, he really gravitates towards Kitty. But I didn't mention this yet, but Princess Catherine looks dead on like Kitty. It's like it's her doppelganger. And for some reason, he's really just Kitty's the one that he wants, even though they both look exactly the same.
You look to be about 10 days older. I don't want you.
Why are you so old? Did you always have wrinkles in your face like that? So Rachel pushes herself past this demon transformation that's happening to her. Captain Britain makes his way back to the castle carrying the ogre on his shoulder. And then Princess Kate still gives Prince William a kiss as a thank you. And then he gets pissed off because he thinks that her doing that's going to, like, push Kitty away.
Yo, chill. All right?
You see my lady over here? You just going to give me a kiss like that? So, yeah, he gets pissed off, and then he immediately turns to Kitty and asks for her to marry him. And that was issue number 12. So then we go to 13. Still on Earth 1193, Excalibur is now staying at Prince William's home castle. Captain Britain gets a new suit made for him by the castle tailor. And it absorbs and stores the native power of Britain. Don't ask. Just let me keep going.
What is the native power of Britain?
Don't ask. I don't know. And then that's when they all realize that Captain Britain's powers are only good. No, they only work in Britain. And somehow they also learn that the same thing is true for Meggan. So both of them, their powers are only good in Britain. They went to New York recently, and that boy was getting mollywopped everywhere. He couldn't do anything. So just then, the Queen Mother, William's mother, comes in, hellos everybody, and gives a special hello to Kitty, who is soon to marry her son, because in their kingdom, no is not an option. It's like, if I ask you to marry me, you're marrying me. It's not like, oh, let me think about it. Like, nah, it's just, I already asked. It's me and you forever now, until I get sick of you. And then,
so I just have to ask somebody to marry me, and they have to.
In Earth 1193, that's it.
Damn, that's crazy.
That's all you need is be able to speak. It's probably getting a lot of people into trouble. Actually, it's probably just really bad for women.
Yeah, just like everything.
Yeah, no, yeah. It's like every
this
alternate
universe
Earth.
is no different for women than in
No,
any other one.
just different problems. That's it. So Kitty throws a fit. The royal family lock her up in an undisclosed room, and Excalibur then goes on the hunt looking for Kitty. Meanwhile, back on their actual Earth, Earth 616, there's a man named Nigel Frobisher, and he's working to get Captain Britain's brother freed from this guy, Dr. Crocodile. Which he does, and then we jump back to Earth 1193, and Kitty is being scanned so the royals can learn about her powers, and they basically just decide that she must be a witch based off of her powers, which doesn't make sense to me, because then they immediately cast a spell on her to change her attitude and her demeanor, but she does her best to try to reach out to Rachel telepathically. And then the team is able to find her pretty quickly. But when they get there, they're a little too late because she's already kind of been brainwashed. Kitty tells them as soon as they walk in, there's nothing to worry about. I'm okay here. You guys can go. Just leave me be. So, of course, they leave. They get back on the train, and while they're trying to figure out how to save Kitty from all of this, they're just lost for words. They have no idea what's going on at this point. And then back on the castle grounds, Kitty and Prince William are taking a walk, and he's no longer feeling Kitty at this point. Because the spells put her under like a trance. So he's like, well, like you don't even have a personality now. Like this isn't. You're not the person for me here. So that's not working out. And just then, when he says that, they get attacked by trolls, and Prince William tries to fight them off, and then just like how comic books work, Excalibur shows up. They break Kitty from her spell, and then after all that, Prince will chases the trolls away, and then the spell breaks for a second again, and then comes back. So now she's still under the spell, even though they thought they broke it. It just keeps coming back. They're not strong enough. The next night, when Kitty is laying in her bed, she's attacked by this creature with these black tentacles, and when it grabs her, it breaks the spell, and then the queen's maid comes in because she heard all this ruckus going on, and before trying to save her from this creature, she's like, "Oh no, I got to put the spell back on you." Like, that's the most important thing. So she just puts the spell back on her, then leaves. Like, doesn't save her from anything. And then after some investigating, Nightcrawler and Meggan find out that Princess Kate was actually the one who summoned the tentacle demon to Kitty's room. So, and she was the one who summoned that same creature to kidnap herself, so she could get saved by a prince.
Oh, okay. So it was like a whole convoluted plot.
Yeah. And the queen wastes no time in sentencing Princess Catherine to death, because that's fucked up. Why would you do that to my son? And she begs for mercy, and because she says she did all of this in the hopes of Prince William saving her. Prince William then changes his mind and says that he wants to marry Princess Kate.
Anybody this crazy, I gotta have.
You did all that for me, girl? He's like that kid on TikTok. I forgot what he said. He's like, he asked some girl, he's like, "How old are you?" He's like, 20. You're 20?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it doesn't matter to me, baby girl. That's Prince William. So, yeah, he says, "I want to marry Princess Kate." And the queen says, "Okay." So now the two of them are getting married.
Okay.
And that was number 13. So now we're on to 14. So now the Excalibur team, get out of here, you nasty fly bitch. And why is it so fucking loud, dog? Get out of here. Oh, now I'm really going to have to edit.
Oh, I heard it in the headphones.
See? So now Excalibur and the Royals are celebrating the nuptials, while the rest of the people in the party are talking about how Captain Britain looks like the Captain Marshall that they know. Meggan is dancing with Nightcrawler, and that's making Captain Britain jealous. Rachel is dancing with Alistair, and that's making Kitty jealous. And Kitty leaves the party with Lockheed right behind her. And they go back to their newly fixed train. I don't know when the train was fixed.
No one has a problem with this dragon just
Nope.
being there.
Nope. Not at all. Outside, Rachel runs into... we're still in Earth 1193. Rachel goes outside and she runs into 1193's Nigel Frobisher, the guy that we talked about earlier. And he immediately starts thinking these nasty things about her. But this Nigel must not know that Rachel is a telepath. So she just starts beating his ass. She starts fighting him, beating him up. And then Captain Britain comes out, tries to get her to stop. And she telepathically tells Captain Britain what he was thinking. And then he starts beating up Nigel too. And then they were like, "Okay, we've probably overstayed our welcome here, so we should probably get out of here." And then they all make their way to the train. Widget is instantly feeding on Rachel's energy that she was giving off when she was beating up Nigel. Widget starts to glow, and then seconds later, the train takes off to another dimension. And then moments later, they land back at home, or my shit. God damn it. So yeah, they hop off the train thinking that that they made it home. Something in the area feels like it's off. And as soon as they all start to feel the weirdness in the area, a huge tsunami wave just comes crashing towards them. But again, Rachel saves them with her psi powers, uses a mental force field, blocks the whole thing from killing them, basically. After the waves dissipate, the team looks around and sees that Rachel is nowhere to be found right now. And then out of nowhere, we see Rick Jones. Rick Jones is a former Avenger for some reason. He used to be partners with Captain America, the Hulk, and he used to be cosmically tied to Captain Marvel.
Here's a new one.
Damn, at least this one's not loud. So yeah, now Rick just showed up out of nowhere. And then Rick tells them they've been missing the Excalibur team has been missing for a week, and the Avengers want to talk to them, so they all hop in a Quinjet. They ride out. While they're flying there, at one point, they fly into what looks like a wall. Like, how did you not see that coming? But it looks like a wall that they just hit, and we find out that it's actually the gigantic leg of Hank Pym, who had an experiment go haywire, and every time that he moves now, it causes a natural disaster around the world. He's that big.
Oh, okay.
So he's literally just stuck standing where he is, because if he moves at all,
something bad happens.
Yeah. So that we see that giant Hank Pym just standing in the middle of, I think he was in the ocean, just standing there. And then out of nowhere, our favorite, Namor, shows up. And he just shows up with guns blazing, shooting at Hank for destroying Atlantis. And then he ends up dropping Hank and causing like an enormous flood around the whole world. And Captain Britain is able to get his team out of the area on the Quinjet, but they're not able to really save anybody else here. So he's like, well, we got to go see the Avengers, so we should probably get out of here. And then when they get to New York, they see a bunch of superheroes fighting each other in the broken down rubble of New York. And then they run into an evil Captain America. And he tells them they chose the wrong time to show up because everyone is caught up in acts of vengeance.
Well, that's what I'm reading.
Yeah. Hopefully that's the one that comes out next week and not a part 2 of this. So yeah, he says everybody's caught up in acts of vengeance. So you guys should probably not be here right now.
And then we got acts of vengeance to do. Skedaddle.
Haven't you heard? It's Tuesday. It's Acts of Vengeance Day. So And then Excalibur realizes they aren't in their own dimension like they thought they were. It's odd that the Acts of Vengeance is what.
Yeah, the Hank Pym in the ocean wasn't enough for you?
No. So then they decide to split up so they can find Rachel and then get the hell out of there. Alistair and Kitty head over to the Baxter building and then get told to take a number so they can talk to the Fantastic Four, and their number is literally just too high for me to count. It says it was 23 and then 23 zeros after that was their number. So they're not ever seeing them. And then uptown, Rick and Captain Britain find themselves in the middle of a battle between Loki, Thor, and Iron Man. And then Captain Britain's just kind of standing there like, why are these three fighting each other? And then he gets sucker punched by the Hulk. And then Captain Britain just gets up pretty quickly from it and starts fighting back. And then the Hulk starts crying like a baby. And like a literal baby. And then Rick starts yelling at Captain Britain for hitting somebody with the mind of a child. And then he like caresses the Hulk and like tries to get him to stop crying. And then Nightcrawler and Meggan run into Mysterio, who starts giving them fashion advice about their costumes, which they take to it, and they're like, "Oh yeah, you're probably right. We should probably change." And then they change, then they take off again, and then they run into multiple people who are in the running for a casting to be Wolverine.
Hugh Jackman there?
Probably. So
Huge Jackman.
Huge Jackman is here. And so they leave the casting call, and then they meet up with the rest of the team at the Baxter Building, and they all just wait in line together. And then we see at the top of the Baxter Building, Reed is trying to open Rachel's force field because he found it. And seconds later, she bursts out of the force field, and she's ready to fight the Fantastic Four. And the FF try to explain that they want to help her, but before they can do anything, Galactus shows up in the sky, and he says, "Hey, just like always, I'm here. I'm here to destroy this dimension, but I'm going to do it because if you guys keep going any further, it's going to cause damage to other realities." And Widget can sense all the power that Rachel's been giving off in this fight, and he teleports the whole team back to the train and then quickly takes them off to a different dimension. And as soon as they get off planet, Galactus just tears apart the whole.
This is the planet with the Hank Pym?
Yeah.
And the Acts of Vengeance?
Yeah.
All that happening in one day?
Mm-hmm.
The FF didn't see Galactus coming?
Nope.
You would think Reed would have some sort of alarm system to say, "Hey, Galactus is, a light year away," or something.
He must turn off his computers on Acts of Vengeance days. That's the only thing that makes sense. So then we jump over to number 15. Back on Earth 616, Nigel Frobisher is working with his company TechNet to rescue Jamie Braddock, who's Captain Britain's brother, from Dr. Crocodile, and TechNet wastes no time enacting this plan. They end up rescuing him, and when they bring him back to Earth 616, but then once Jamie gets back to Earth 616, he shows everybody his true powers. And Jamie can see, when he looks at humans, all he sees is like string in the shape of a human. And if he wants to, he can pull just one string and just end your life with that string. Like he just pulls it apart. Like he doesn't even see you as like a person. You're literally just a human shaped, or a string in the shape of a human. So he shows the TechNet guards that power, and he just one by one he starts picking them off. He's pulling string from each one, and they're literally just dying right in front of him. It's killing everybody.
That sounds terrible.
Yeah, and he can kind of manipulate time on top of all of that, and he also has the ability to change how you perceive the world around you. So you could think everything's going great for you in front of you, like looks like a bright sunny day, when really like
it's not.
The world's falling apart around you, or vice versa. So yeah, he makes light work of every TechNet officer that was there, and then Nigel shows up, and Jamie makes him believe that the whole plan was successful, because, like I said, he has that ability to make you believe what he wants you to. All while this is happening, Excalibur was jumping from one reality to the next. At one point, they're being chased by cowboys in this British version of the Old West. They find themselves in the middle of a horror film, and just too many other things for me to go through, because it's not necessary. When they finally land on their own Earth, they know it's their actual Earth where they came from, and they land there with no issues. Everything's cool. But Meggan gets so excited, she inadvertently changes herself to look like Rachel, and then tries to switch back. But when she does, Rachel gets pissed off, accidentally exerts too much power again. Widget feeds off of the power, and then sends the train right back out to another dimension. And so now they got to figure out how to get back home again. And that was number 15. So we're at 16 now. And while the train is barreling towards the ground, one of the windows breaks, of course, and Nightcrawler falls out. And luckily, he lands in a pirate ship. And he sees that these pirates on the ship are getting ready to kill this princess that's on there as well. He knocks all of them out, and then he frees the princess. And then when he turns around to look at all the pirates that he beat up, the princess knocks him out. So then we see Kitty and Rachel. They find themselves waking up hanging in a smokehouse after falling from the train as well. And then after they free themselves, a cook from the shop comes in to try to figure out why his dinner is making so much noise. When Kitty knocks him out, throws him through a wall, and then they run off. Nightcrawler wakes up in the castle, being waited on by servants, and he's laying next to the princess, but he's oblivious to the fact that she knocked him out. Like, he doesn't know it at all. And but one of the servants spills a little bit of wine on the princess and just starts like losing her shit. Like, oh my god, I'm so sorry. Like she's like, the princess is gonna kill her for doing it. And that's when Nightcrawler starts getting suspicious of the whole situation. Then we jump over to Alistair being chased through the town that they are in by a group of mercenaries who reveal that they're working for the princess that knocked out Nightcrawler. And he gets saved. Alistair gets saved by Kitty and Rachel, but when they run off, they're captured by this green tentacled creature.
Too many tentacles in this story.
Yeah, and brought into this hovering ship that's nearby.
Too many tentacles, too many princesses.
Yeah, it's a very convoluted story. Back at the palace where Nightcrawler is, Nightcrawler sees the princess sneaking out during the middle of the night with a cloaked person. So he follows them to see what the business is, and then he finds out that the cloaked person is another princess. A girl named Princess Kimry, who was recently overthrown by Nightcrawler's princess. And I don't remember what her name was, so I keep calling her Nightcrawler's princess. She tries to run away.
Sounds like some sort of like illness.
Oh yeah, I have Nightcrawler's princess. Yeah, this shit's bad, man. I can barely walk half the time. So Nightcrawler's princess tries to run away, so Kimry and Nightcrawler give chase when she leads them to a dungeon where Rachel, Kitty, and Alistair are about to be eaten by the tentacled creature. But what happens is Rachel tries to use her powers to save them, the three of them, from being eaten, and this gives Excalibur, for some reason their powers just weren't working. They don't explain it, but their powers just weren't working. But when Rachel exerts her power, for some reason it gives everybody else their powers back. And that was number 16. So now we're on to 17. And now that they're able to use their powers, they save themselves. Everybody's kind of celebrating except for Rachel. And because now she's been completely drained of her powers at this point. Meggan, who was completely non-existent in the last issue, tries to comfort Rachel, but she just walks off. She doesn't want to hear anything right now. And then we see that she goes to seek out the Jean Grey from this dimension. When she finds her, because they have a... No, it doesn't really matter what Earth they're on or what dimension they're in. Like, her and Jean Grey always have like that connection, so she found her pretty quick. So she finds her, but then stays with her for like weeks. So she stays with her and then tries to kind of come to terms about what her life is without having like all of her powers. And then out of nowhere one day her and Jean get attacked and Jean ends up dying. And so yeah, they get attacked, Jean gets killed, Rachel escapes. Later on, Excalibur is holding a tournament to elect a new champion to protect this Earth when they leave. The contest comes down to Princess Kimry, the Lockheed from this current dimension, and a disguised woman who Kitty quickly figures out is Rachel, who just came back. Mm. And Kitty rushes back to the train with Nightcrawler and Captain Britain to try to fix Widget, who's been slowly falling apart since Rachel disappeared. And just then, an assassin comes to disrupt the tournament, and after the whole kerfuffle, they decide that Kimry and Lockheed will be co-champions of this world. And then they head back to the train, power up Widget to take off again. And then we're off to number 18. I told you, I'm trying to fly through. So in the area between dimensions, their travel gets disrupted, causing Meggan and Rachel to switch places again. Rachel freaks out, causing the train to leave its current line of travel. And then Rachel, whenever the train stops, Rachel stumbles out of the train, and she finds herself on an active racetrack. Nightcrawler teleports her out of the way, but he doesn't have enough power to get them both out of. He doesn't have enough power to get himself and Rachel off of the track completely, but just out of the way of the cars. So Lockheed flies out, knocks them both off the track, so they're safe. And then Meggan disappears. And then they're looking at a, I don't know where they found a TV, but they're looking at a TV, and then they see Meggan in the passenger side of a race car, and it's being driven by this current reality's Jamie Braddock, Captain Britain's brother. But she looks to be like she's in some sort of trance. And then we get Kitty kind of just wants to clear her mind, so she goes out for a walk. And that's when she realizes that Captain Britain is missing too. And when she looks further up the road, there's a car that she sees just kind of like freshly into a ditch, like smoke coming up from it.
What are the chances of them getting somewhere and then it's just all this stuff is happening? A TV showing what they want to see, car crashes that they can go investigate.
I don't know. Oh, Jesus.
Bless you.
Thank you. So, yeah, she sees a car in the ditch. Widget's right next to her. He's following her wherever she goes. And then Widget just decides to eat the car that's in the ditch and transforms himself into the car. And then Kitty decides, okay, like, I have a car. Let me go try to find all of my friends so we can get out of here. And so they're driving down the road. She sees Captain Britain, and he says he tried to save Meggan, but the Jamie from this dimension stole all of his powers for the time being, and his powers are just now starting to come back, so he can't do anything but walk around.
I can't do anything but walk around.
All I can do is walk now. This sucks.
Help me, I can't stop.
Are we not in Britain right now? Why do I not have my powers? So Captain Britain hops in the car, and then they immediately get pulled over. And they tell the cops our friends have been kidnapped, so the cops go. They know exactly who stole the people, kidnapped the people. So they go find Jamie, and they go off to try to find Jamie in hopes of arresting him. Back on the train, Alistair and Nightcrawler are working on fixing the train when Rachel gets out. Her and Meggan are starting to switch bodies again, and when Jamie looks over at Meggan, he can see that her strings are being intertwined with somebody else's strings. So he starts pulling on the strings that are Rachel's. And then he pulls on it, and it forces Rachel to now be in the passenger seat of the car and pushes Meggan back to where Rachel was, or back onto the train. And so yeah, it sends Meggan back to the train, but then the cops get there and just ram their car straight into Jamie's car. Like, no, like, hey, pull over, and just bam. But then when they do that, it ruins Jamie's concentration, and it ends up sending Rachel back to the train again, bringing Megan back to the passenger seat. And then, just as the cops show up, Kitty and Captain Britain show up, and Jamie forces Megan to attack Captain Britain while he tries to take control of Kitty himself. Jesus, sorry about that, guys. I have to listen to this whole thing and edit it now. So Captain Britain doesn't fall for it and goes into attacking Jamie. But Jamie decides to bury them all under a crumbling building, and then he kidnaps Lockheed and Widget. And then we jump over to issue 19. We're almost there, guys. I'm trying. So, with Jamie creeping down an alleyway, Captain Britain makes his way out of the rubble to find him and get revenge on his brother. But Jamie's just too powerful, and he sends Captain Britain flying through like 3 or 4 buildings with one punch. And Kitty is stalking the both of them. When she sees Captain Britain fly through the buildings, she tries to distract Jamie, but he sends Lockheed to attack her because Jamie has control of Lockheed at this point. But before Lockheed is able to attack Kitty, she jumps through a portal that Widget opened up for her. So, kind of saves her. Back on the train, Rachel is waking up from the attack by Jamie, and she realizes that she's seeing the world through Megan's eyes right now, and uses Megan's powers to... She basically forces Megan to transform into whatever she wants. Like, she's not in Megan's body, but for some reason she can... She's almost like it's almost like they're sharing the same body right now.
Oh, okay.
So she forces Megan to transform into Wolverine so she can use his scent tracking power to find Jamie by his scent. And then, meanwhile, Kitty wakes up in a house that she doesn't recognize. She goes downstairs to be greeted by a woman named Emma, who is a housekeeper for the Braddock townhouse that Jamie lives in. And then we jump over to Wolverine / Rachel Meggan. And then we find who finds Jamie, tries to kill him immediately. And then she transforms into Longshot, who uses his blade to destroy Jamie's car. Jamie then sends a mind-controlled Captain Britain to attack them. And Megan then takes full control of her body. But Rachel's like, no, I need to handle this myself. Forces her way back into Megan and transforms her into the Dazzler and uses her bright light to stun Captain Britain. But it happens too soon, and Jamie shows it doesn't affect Jamie in any way. So now he's there just ready for a fucking fight. And so we jump back to Kitty, and she's eating breakfast. She sees the newspaper, realizes that she's actually back. That portal sent her back to her Earth, 616. She changes into some new clothes that were in Psylocke's room, and then she hears the Dazzler's lasers going off upstairs. But then Emma tells her, like, don't go into the room. Like, that's not your room. It's Jamie's room. Don't disturb anything in there. Don't open the door. And, of course, she does it anyway. She just phases through the door. And then we jump back to the alternate Earth. Jamie has gained control over the Dazzler's powers. Rachel then transforms Megan into Havoc, and she shoots his plasma beams at Jamie. Back on Earth 616, Kitty sees that Jamie Braddock's chest now has just a complete hole straight through it. And she's now realizing that the Jamie Kitty is looking at on Earth 616 has to be connected to the Jamie on the Earth that she was just at. So we jump back to the alternate Earth again. Rachel transforms Megan into Storm. She hits Jamie with lightning. Then she quickly changes to Cyclops, uses that famous Ruby Quartz blast, and then blasts him from up on the roof. And then she tries to transform into Rogue to take Jamie's powers. But stealing his powers doesn't work. as he starts to absorb not only their powers, but he's trying to absorb Rachel and Megan as a whole into himself. But before he can finish doing that, Nightcrawler, Alistair, and the cops fly in on the train, and they land right on top of Jamie. So Kitty, now realizing that her Jamie has the mind of a child, the Jamie that she walked in on was just like sitting on the floor in front of the fireplace with like, it looked like little action figures of all the characters, like all of her friends. So she thinks that there was something wrong with that Jamie in her world, where he was controlling the other Jamie and everything around him, and as like little play toys. So she realized that he has like the mind of a child. So she like puts him to bed, says, "Oh, you can play with your stuff tomorrow," and then when she does that, when he finally gets in the bed, goes to sleep, the Jamie in the alternate version just like fades away and disappears. So then somehow Kitty on her Earth gets Widget to open up another portal for her, and then when she jumps through it, it doesn't do anything but take her to the next room. Like you just opened up a portal to the next room over, like not back to the alternate universe that everybody else is at. So, like I said earlier in this, that was number 19. We're skipping 20. We're going straight to 21. And now we jump to Earth 2122, and we see somebody named Crusader X, who is this Earth's Captain Britain. And he's flying towards the scene where there's a whole bunch of helicopters, WHO agents, and this Earth's Alistair and Alistair's sister, Alisande, who's his advisor. And then a mysterious train arrives on their platform with no passengers in it. All they found was a picture of Nightcrawler, who on this Earth is a Prussian spy. And then when Crusader X hears this, he goes off searching for Nightcrawler. And then back on 616, Kitty wakes up to breakfast in bed, being served by Courtney Ross, who is Captain Britain's on-again, off-again flame. And Kitty's crying. It's her birthday. And she just misses her Excalibur teammates. And she's just thinking about how she just recently, like not too long ago, lost all of her X-Men teammates. So her and Nightcrawler really should have taken some time to themselves. Go back, spend some time with your mom.
They try to just jump onto a new team and
yeah, and like their whole identity must just be team. Like I gotta be on the team. What else am I gonna do? I don't know. Get some rest.
Take a break. Relax.
Take some classes. Do something. So yeah, so she's kind of just not feeling birthday today. Doesn't want to deal with it. Back on Earth 2122, the Jean Grey of that Earth arrives at Xavier's school, but when she does, she sees Jason Wingard of the Hellfire Club. And for those of you who do or don't remember, we talked about him all the way back in the Dark Phoenix saga. He was the one that was trying to recruit the Phoenix to the Hellfire Club. And was that Days of Future Past? It was one of those two. But we've talked about him before. And just so everybody knows, when I say Hellfire Club, I'm talking about the Marvel one, not the Stranger Things one. This is not the same thing, guys.
Stranger Things, I love Stranger Things.
No, you don't.
I'm a Stranger Things fanatic.
How many seasons have you watched?
All 10.
Yeah, I can tell. You look like somebody who watched 10 seasons of it. I don't know what show you were watching, buddy. So Jason Wingard tells her he wants to make her the Shadow Queen of the Hellfire Club. She says, no, thank you. And Phoenix flares up, and then reality just sets back into place. But she's very confused about what the hell's going on here. And meanwhile, Excalibur are hiding in a warehouse, tending to Rachel, who just felt a psychic cry from her mother. Distraught, but Rachel, she's distraught, but Rachel knows that the only one who can make this happen to Jean is somebody called Mastermind and the rest of the Hellfire Club. So we jump over to the Hellfire Club, and the White Queen, Emma Frost, has just died trying to conquer Jean's mind for the club.
She died.
She's dead. So the Shadow King orders Mastermind to torture himself for failing and not getting Jean to come be the Shadow Queen. And back on Earth 616, the crime boss Vixen is meeting up with Nigel Frobisher in the park, and that's when Jamie shows up. Sensing that things are starting to go sideways, Vixen tells her goons to kill Nigel. Jamie isn't playing games with anybody that's here, and he stops the bullets from hitting Nigel. He freezes the goons and just right where they're standing, and he turns to Vixen and he turns her into a snake to become his pet. And then we jump back to Earth 2122, and Jean walks into Xavier's school now, and then she sees Professor X and Moira McTaggart, and they're both dead. And then she finds out that she's the one that killed the both of them.
Oh no, they're dead.
More death. And so yeah, she realizes that she was the one who killed the both of them, and now Mastermind has broken her psyche enough to turn her into the Shadow Queen without needing her participation to do so. And across town, Nightcrawler is still comforting Rachel when Crusader X shows up to take his head off. And Rachel quickly puts an end to that. Back across town, meanwhile, Jane is now fighting the pressure that she feels for her to become the Shadow Queen. And as she runs away, she's being chased by a giant projection of the Shadow King in the sky, telling her, "You need to get your ass back over here." I ordered you to be the Shadow Queen, and that's what you're going to be. So
I feel like the Shadow King just kind of operates in like the shadows.
that's what should be the case. Like, you shouldn't be able to project yourself in the skylight.
Yeah.
Like, if it's sunny outside, you shouldn't be able to do that.
No.
Like, you gotta, like, if I'm in my garage like we are now, and you want to creep into here, like behind these boxes, then that makes sense. But if I go into the driveway, like, I should be untouchable over there.
Yeah, he should only be able to move through shadows and only connect to shadows.
Yeah.
Like, if it's just like one shadow, like in your garage, and there's no other shadows around, he can't move from that one spot.
You can pop up into this one, you can pop up into one over there, but, like, you gotta, like, really work. It takes you longer to get from this shadow to that shadow.
I was thinking the shadows have to touch. Like, if there's one here 2 feet away, there's another shadow, but they're not touching.
Yeah.
He can't get to that next one. It's like the floor is lava, but
yeah,
with shadows.
That makes sense. And then he has to, when he wants to leave this shadow here, he has to go all the way back home.
Yeah.
And then hope that I'm still standing in the driveway so he can meet me there.
Yeah, he has to wait for like a certain time of day just to have some shadows.
Or what if he can only go from like one shadow to the next, like within a certain amount of time? Like, he has to, if he shows up here, he has to wait like another 30 minutes before he can go to a different one.
It's like cooling off period.
Yeah.
He never really mastered his powers. He just used them.
He's never had to go from one shadow to the next. So when he finally does, like, he's kind of stuck because he can only...
He put off, like, learning his powers because he was just like, I'm too lazy today.
Yeah.
And so his procrastination, he never learned.
He's like, I'm the Shadow King. I'm not the Shadow Prince. I run this.
Self-titled.
Yeah. There was nobody opposing him. He basically just lives in his own universe by himself. So where the hell was I? So yeah, Shadow King's chasing her through the sky, basically. Back across town, Rachel can sense the fear in Jean, so she takes off to go help, leaving Nightcrawler to get his ass beaten and arrested by the Crusader X. Seconds later, Megan, Alistair, and Captain Britain arrive too late, and now they have to keep searching for all their friends. Rachel finds a fatally wounded Jean laid out and tries to resurrect her with her Phoenix powers, but the Shadow Queen is rising from the ashes, and now Rachel is making it her life's mission to end the Hellfire Club. 22. Almost there. So now we see, Nightcrawler being interrogated for his variant's espionage work. He's having a hard time convincing them that he isn't a spy, but Alisande is open to hearing him out and tries to convince everyone else in Who to listen to him. They try to call him Professor X, but somehow they know that every psi-powered person has been knocked out unconscious. They don't know that Professor X is dead here. Crusader X and Archangel head over to the X Mansion and find that everyone there is either knocked out or injured pretty badly. The one person that they don't see is Jean Grey. So everybody, whether you're psi-powered or not, is down and out at the X Mansion. Meanwhile, somewhere else on Earth 2122, Courtney Ross is being attacked by some street thugs on her way to work. But Excalibur swoops in for the save, but they saved her because they thought she was Kitty, who again is the complete doppelganger for this Courtney Ross lady. Looks exactly like her.
So, who is it? It's Kitty.
So there's Kitty, Princess Catherine.
Yeah.
This Courtney Ross. But as for this Courtney Ross on 2122 looks like Kitty, but in other stories she doesn't look like her at all. But almost every Earth that they've gone to, there's been like a variant of Kitty on there that they've interacted with. And so yeah, they thought it was Kitty, so that's why they saved her, and they're all surprised when she tells them that her actual name is Courtney. At the Hellfire Club, Rachel decides to take her mom's place as the Shadow Queen. The Shadow King is excited that Jean has finally showed up. He doesn't know that this isn't actually Jean. Back at the interrogation table, Alisande is working with Nightcrawler to help him get out, and he teleports the two of them to the roof. And seconds later, Captain Britain bursts through the wall that Nightcrawler was supposed to be in, thinking that he was going to save his friends. And it ends up collapsing the whole building. Hearing this loud explosion, Crusader X comes to inspect, and then he gets hit with a punch that knocks him flying from Captain Britain. But they're pretty much the same person, so they're evenly matched. They're going back and forth. The next week, we see this world's Tony Stark going to kill all of the world's leaders at a conference that they're all at. When he's surprised by authorities and Rachel, they're already there. Crusader X and Captain Britain have been fighting for this whole time. A week.
They've been fighting a whole week?
A week. Back and forth, they've been fighting. The only thing that stopped them was Tony Stark showing up to kill the world leaders.
Wouldn't they, you would think they would, be like, damn, we're both evenly matched, we're both not tired, should we just, call it quits or something?
Listen, I'll tell you this, man. If I'm fighting somebody for, 5 minutes and I realize that neither one of us are getting anywhere with this, I'm not going to keep going.
And, they're evenly matched, which I understand.
Yeah.
So does that really just mean if one of them brings one other person, if just one of them has another person, then that side's automatically going to win?
Probably. I don't know. I don't make the rules. So, yeah, they take down Tony, who we find out was working for the Hellfire Club this whole time, and then they take him down, and then he tries to flee, and he just goes back to the Hellfire Club hideout that he was working out of. And then we jump over number 23. Again, we're almost there, guys. Where are we at right now?
You shouldn't tell us we're almost there after each one.
We are, though. I'm not making this 2 parts. So number 23, jumping again to Earth 23-23-8. We see Ileana, a.k.a. Magic, and Kitty Pryde. And they're watching Excalibur. They can see Excalibur traveling through the multiverse at this point, because Magic has those kind of powers to do so. When the two of them get warned that the Justicers, a.k.a. the police, are coming towards their building looking for Kitty. And while they're traveling, we jump over to the train. While they're traveling, Alistair tries to tinker with Widget when Widget shocks him and lets out this bright flash of light. And then we jump back to where Magic is. Jesus. And just then, the Justices are trying to harass Magic, and the Excalibur train comes barely through the glass roof of the building. Rachel is barely able to stop the train from going through the roof and then out through the side and crashing down below. But Kitty runs towards the window trying to see if anybody's down there, if they need to help anybody. And then somebody pushes her from the window straight to the ground. And Captain Britain shoots out from the train to try to go save her. But one of the Justicers shoots him. So now he's falling because he can't use his powers. And Meggan tries to go out to save the both of them. But the pollution that's on this planet is causing her to burst into flames.
What the fuck?
Yeah. So now they're falling. All 3 of them are falling to their deaths. Upstairs, the rest of the team and Magic are about to be arrested when Magic tells the Justicers they only have a warrant to take Kitty and no one else. So they're like, well, yeah, she's kind of right. But they see Nightcrawler. He's very clearly a mutant. So I guess on this planet, they don't really mess with mutants. So they immediately take him in and arrest him instead. So Meggan, Kitty, and Captain Britain end up landing in a polluted river down below, which does save them, but now Meggan has all these blisters and boils all over her body. And Captain Britain and Meggan take control at that point. They start their way back to where their team was when they're attacked. And in the battle, this world's Kitty dies, but before she does, she tells Captain Britain that Magic was the one who pushed her out of the window, and the whole time he thought this was a Kitty from his world, which it wasn't, obviously. Back in Magic's house, she's threatening Alistair with death if he doesn't help her with her evil plans that she doesn't go into any further. And Rachel comes to help him. And now her and Magic are in a full-fledged fight when the Justicers show up again to arrest Magic for trying to kill Kitty. She tries to change out of her demon form in the hopes of sending them off, but they aren't buying it. And then they start shooting at her, which causes her to turn back into the Dark Child, which is what she calls her demon form. And Rachel uses the Phoenix Force. Captain Britain and his 23-23-8 counterpart jump in to attack as well, and they all take the Dark Child down. The Justicers are going to arrest everyone now, but the head Justicer tells everyone, just get out of here fast. I don't want to do all this paperwork. Just go. We'll act like you guys just disappeared on us. So they activate Widget, and they take off. And I'm going to be honest. The next issue, not worth it. the Cross Time Caper ends on issue 24, and it does not end a story at all. The event ends there. The next issues after that don't say Cross Time Caper at all. But I swear to God, nothing is finished in issue number 24. Nothing. They're still completely out of their... They do make it back to Earth. So what happens is this lady, what's her name? Opal Luna Saturnine.
What?
Yeah. She's the omniversal Mastrix. She scolds them when they leave where Darkchild was. She scolds them while they're traveling to the next world for causing all this damage in all these different universes. She sends them to like the omniversal court. The court decides that they just need to be sent back to Earth, and that's pretty much it, honestly. But then we never get any resolution on what's going on with Kitty. Nothing. And that was a Cross Time Caper. A Chris Claremont story. Fun times.
I don't know, like, I wasn't feeling that. There's something about the X-Men comics that just bugs me. I think it's because it usually is about the team rather than like one person, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like each character is like only there for a quick second. But
it's sometimes hard with the teams because there's so many people on the team. The X-Men have like, it can be anywhere between like 5 and 12.
And sometimes they split up. Sometimes they're together. So you might get 2 stories in one issue or 1 story in there.
And then in this one, like, it's already convoluted enough with all this crazy shit that you guys are talking about. And then for you to split Kitty up from everybody else and then keep going back and forth between the rest of the team and then her story, like, why? No, you don't have to do this shit. You don't.
I'm going to give this... I don't know if we're doing the ratings just yet, but I'm going to just give my rating.
We're just getting straight into it. I don't want to be done with this.
It's Paul Walker for me.
Let's hope I picked the right one.
I said forget about it.
I said forget about it, cuz.
I'm giving it one of those too, man.
I said forget about it, cuz.
This story was just... like I said earlier, I think before we started recording, I saw a lot of people hyping up this run of Excalibur with Chris Claremont writing. I don't understand why. This was bad. I didn't like it.
I feel this may fall under our well-known issue of reading stories that take, a year and a half to come out, and we're reading it in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, but imagine, like, if any of you guys go back and read this, you're going to see, like, maybe that's so. Like, maybe reading it in bulk all at one time, maybe that's not a good idea. I don't know. But I can't imagine reading this once a month and remembering even remotely what happened last month.
Yeah. I like the multiverse aspect of what was going on, or going to different universes and different things happening. I like that. But I was kind of checked out after the whole Hank Pym thing. I was like, that's cool. And then after, I was just like, eh.
If you guys could have done a multiversal story a lot more clean and concise than you did here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a fan. I don't even want to, I'm done with this one. That's, again, just like always, thanks for listening, guys. Thanks for coming back every week. Shout out to Crush Comics in Castro Valley. I left some stickers over there.
Go pick up some free stickers.
If they're still there. I'm not sure if they are. But if you buy some comics over there, our sticker's right there on the
tell them we sent you.
Yeah. I feel bad. I was telling my brother here earlier, I felt bad. I was stupid nervous to go in there and even ask if I could leave stickers because I was scared that he was going to say no. I was going to have to walk out of there with comics in hand and my stickers and just be like, all right. But they were super cool, but I felt like a dumbass because I didn't ask for the guy's name. And it's the same 3 people in there every time. I believe it's the 2 owners.
Mm.
And, okay, yeah, my bad. So, yeah, I felt like a dumbass because I was just super nervous going in there and asking in the first place. I didn't even get anybody's name. I didn't introduce myself. All I did was like, hey, me and my brother got a podcast. We're going through every Marvel event from the beginning. And we talked about it for a quick second. And then he said it was cool if I left some stickers. And he slapped one on the front after I left. But either way, shout out to Crush Comics because they took some stickers. And, it's support either way.
Yeah.
So now when you go buy some if anybody buys comic books there, they're going to see that sticker right there in the front. So
go do it.
Go buy some comic books from Crush Comics. Or if you're not in the area in Castro Valley, just go to your local comic book shop.
Has Free Comic Book Day happened already this year?
Yeah, May.
It was May.
I think it's the first week in May every year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I remember, I think that was just COVID. They pushed it to like October or something.
Yeah, I think that was last year.
Oh, okay.
And the year before. COVID made time weird. I always get lost in that shit sometimes. But yeah, either way, shout out to Crush. Shout out to Marvel Comics. If you haven't watched it, go watch She-Hulk. If you haven't watched it, watch Werewolf by Night. We didn't even talk about that.
Yeah, we didn't talk about that one.
But that was really good.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I don't want to be on this fucking episode anymore. No shout outs to Excalibur or anything like that. Peace. Bye-bye.
Bye.